A hardworking window cleaner is left confused after finding gifts on the windowsills he cleaned. He tries to figure out who has been leaving him the gifts and why. Jacob was an ordinary window cleaner. He had a daughter named Ashley, who he loved dearly, and he worked hard to provide her with a comfortable life. Jacob's wife, Annie, died when Ashley was only 3 years old. Since then, he's raised his daughter alone and worked hard to ensure she was always happy. The single father worked in an office of a successful corporation. However, while everyone in the company earned well, Jacob was at the bottom of the salary chain and only made minimum wage for cleaning the windows. Jacob had always dreamed of working for the corporation he was in. He wanted to become an account manager for them, but because of poverty, he didn't have enough money to go to college and therefore could not get his dream job. Despite this, he was determined to work for the company. When he saw an opening for window cleaner in the newspaper, he took a leap of faith and applied. Observing the workers through the window amused him, and it gave him the motivation to continue pushing for his dreams one way or another. Every day, he would come across a beautiful blonde woman named Cynthia. She was a department manager and was constantly in her office, meeting with several people. While Jacob cleaned her windows, he would be mesmerized by her beauty. She had clear skin, piercing blue eyes, and straight blonde hair. "She's like a real-life Barbie," Jacob would say to himself. Unfortunately, Cynthia never paid attention to Jacob. In fact, none of the company employees ever paid attention to him. After all, they saw him as a blue-collar worker who cleaned their windows, not a co-worker. One day, Jacob was on his day off. He decided to take his daughter to a cafe that served good pasta and milkshakes. They were enjoying their meal when Jacob noticed Cynthia walking in. "Good morning, ma'am," Jacob greeted her as they locked eyes. Cynthia was surprised to see Jacob there, especially with a little girl. "Hi," Cynthia replied with a slight smile on her face. She went straight to the cashier, where she ordered her coffee. Little did Jacob know, Cynthia was observing him from the counter. She was surprised to find out Jacob had a young daughter, and she was touched to see how caring and loving he was towards her. Before leaving the cafe with her to-go cup, she couldn't help but approach Jacob again. "You have a beautiful little girl," she told him. "I'm sure you and your wife enjoy taking care of her. She looks like such an angel." Jacob smiled, surprised that Cynthia approached them. "Thank you, ma'am. It's just Ashley and I. My wife died 4 years ago," he revealed. "Oh," Cynthia said, taken aback. "I'm so sorry to hear that. You're doing a great job raising her." "I can tell," she smiled. Even after Cynthia left, she couldn't help but think about Jacob and his daughter. She wanted to do something for them, but she wasn't sure what it was she wanted to do just yet. When Jacob went back to the office after his day off, he went on his daily routine of cleaning windows. He'd always start with the top floor before making his way down to the lobby. However, as he slowly made his way down, he noticed strange things hanging from each window. Wrapped gifts and paper bags were either hung or taped to the windows, and they were labeled Jacob. Jacob was both surprised and delighted. As he opened the gifts, one by one, he saw toys, candy, kids' clothes, and money envelopes. He couldn't help but smile as he cleaned the windows and went through each gift. After that day, Jacob realized that it was Cynthia who started the kind gesture for him. He thanked her personally by going to her office after a day's work. "I just wanted to thank you for doing this for my daughter, ma'am. It means a lot, and I'm sure she will be delighted. All I want is for my daughter to be happy, and I'm sure she'll be ecstatic tonight," Jacob told her. Cynthia smiled. "You're welcome, Jacob. When I saw you with your daughter at the cafe, I couldn't stop thinking about the two of you. She is so lucky to have you as her dad," she told him. Jacob was touched that Cynthia took notice of him. He was still nervous around Cynthia as he found her extremely beautiful and out of his league. However, that day, a sudden burst of courage engulfed him. "I really want to thank you," Jacob said. "I don't have much, but by any chance, would you like to go to dinner with me?" Cynthia would have instantly said no, as she had always been particular about her romantic partner's social status and wealth. However, something came over her, and she wanted to say yes to Jacob, so she agreed to dinner. They had a great time together, and Cynthia was able to get to know Jacob. Not only did she find out how good of a father he was, but she also got to see his kind heart and genuine nature as a person. Since that day, Cynthia started to notice Jacob some more. They would talk in between work and exchange text messages. Meanwhile, the office continued their acts of kindness towards Jacob. They would glue something for Jacob's daughter to the windows every 2 weeks. Eventually, Cynthia couldn't deny her feelings for Jacob. They began to date and eventually got married. Jacob couldn't believe he was dating his dream girl. This motivated Jacob to work harder to provide Cynthia and Ashley with comfortable lives. Jacob and Cynthia raised Ashley together, becoming a happy family that valued memories more than material possessions.